Hello my beading friends, welcome to Misty Moon Designs. My name's Louisa. Today's video is extra special because we're going to be making 10 bracelets using the beads that came in Sam's bead box for the month of September. And the reason this video is extra special is because that box was curated with the help of Wendy, a beloved member of our beading community who unfortunately passed away unexpectedly a couple of years ago. We're going to take a quick peek at the contents and then we'll jump right into the tutorial. Now if you're not familiar with Sam's bead box, I'll leave some information down below in the description section of this video along with a link to the website and a coupon code in case you're interested. And don't forget that I always model my jewelry at the end of my tutorials, so please stick around for that. Also keep in mind that I leave timestamps down below in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. We'll be making 10 gorgeous bracelets using a variety of beautiful beads. We're going to be using Czech Glass Beads, African Jade, Tiger Eye, genuine Turquoise, and Jasper. Each one of these is very unique and some complement each other, so you can wear them together or individually. And of course, if you make any of these bracelets, you'll be honoring Wendy. Whether you're a beginner or experienced jewelry maker, I'm hoping you'll find plenty of inspiration. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the contents, and then we'll jump into this tutorial. And here we have Sam's bead box for the month of September 2025. As you can see, the name of the box is Wendy Safari, and I think it's such a wonderful tribute. It's so nice of Sam and his team to do this for her. And if you don't know who Wendy is, she was a much loved member of our beading community, and we sadly lost her a couple of years ago. Now, I didn't know her personally, but we did exchange a few messages through the years, and I know how special she was to so many. So this is a wonderful way to celebrate Wendy and the light she brought to our community. It really is. I'm so happy that Sam and his team did this. A little bit about Sam's bead box. It's a subscription and it goes for $49 a month plus shipping, and it's usually packed with high quality Czech glass, gemstones, and metal components, way over $80 retail, so you're getting a pretty good deal. And if you missed out on the subscription, sometimes they do sell the boxes individually on their website, but of course they're going to cost more outside of the subscription, and sometimes they also sell extras from the box. But anyway, I can't wait to see what's in this box, so let's open it up. And here's the little insert. It says, this month's box celebrates the life of Wendy Whitman as we mark 2 years since the passing of our bead-loving friend. I feel so lucky to have known Wendy. I remember always feeling so lifted after talking with her. I loved watching her YouTube videos with a bead box, where she would often ambitiously challenge herself to utilize every bead in a box. Wendy's kindness and love of crafting were contagious. The beading community misses her dearly. And further down it says, shortly before her passing, we reached out to Wendy to see if she wanted to collaborate on a box. She was all in and shared her ideas. We are thankful to have received the blessing from Wendy's family to create a box in her honor. We'll let Wendy tell you about her box from here. And it says, quote, I really have a thing for giraffes. I don't know why, but I love them. Any giraffe, all giraffes. I'm thinking maybe a safari themed box. Brown, white, picture Jasper, wooden beads. I think turquoise would look really pretty with that theme, and would add a splash of color to the earth tones, and a giraffe pendant. We hope the safari created is what Wendy envisioned and continues to spread the joy she shared with us as we create. Sam Siegel. Well, here's the whole collection. A tribute to Wendy, because of course she helped put it together. And I must say it's beautifully curated, it really is. I love all the gemstones. I love the tiger eye mix, the Jasper coins, they're so beautiful. And of course the genuine turquoise. And the African jade strand right here, the little ones, is definitely very special. The whole collection is gorgeous. And these safari themed accents are very playful. So are these beads with a giraffe print. They're adorable. But anyway, guys, you can feel Wendy's touch in how well these pieces complement each other. It's definitely a box full of adventure. And I've never been on a safari. I actually have some friends that have though, and it's a lot of fun from what I hear. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. And if you've never purchased Sam's bead box, at least you know what comes in it. Of course, the theme changes every month, but you're always going to get some really pretty beads, lots of Czech glass and gemstone strands. And if you have some time, I'd love to hear your opinion. If you could leave some comments down below, I'd really appreciate that. So now that we've taken a look at the contents, let's go ahead and jump into today's project. Here are the beads for today's bracelets. And as you can see, I have tons of beads here. I think I pretty much used maybe 80% of the box or 85%. It was such a pretty box, I just couldn't resist. And I have them all on my rods. These are called magic rods. I sell them in my Etsy store. They measure 12 inches in length and they're very thin, which means they accommodate a lot of different beads, including seed beads, which are really small. Some of these are size 11.0 and some are size 8.0. And of course, you could use a beading board if you have one. The trouble is you won't be able to line up your beads and have them all up against each other like this. That's one of the benefits of using these rods. And most of these are about 6 inches in length, so please keep that in mind if you're thinking about copying some of these designs. I have very small wrists, so for me the best length is about 6 3/4, and that's what these will end up being by the time we add the jump rings and the lobster clasp. I am going to add an extender chain to each one. Now obviously the seed beads, the metal spacer beads, and this metal component did not come in the box. They're from my own collection. I love this one. It's really, really cool. What I like about it is that you can form it around any kind of bead because they're thin and they're made out of brass. This is what they look like. They're pretty large, so they're perfect for large beads. And if you go searching for them on Etsy, they're actually listed as rivet components. They're not listed as bead caps. That's the back side. I did have to use my memory wire finishing pliers to bend these tips down because I didn't want the tips to stick out. But anyway, I think it looks really cool. So let me go over the sizes real quick, but keep in mind that I will leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section. The tiger eye beads are all 8mm in size. And this one measures, I think, 14.5 by 11.5, something like that. This garland flower measures about 10mm across. And then we have this twisted glass bead. I believe it measures 14mm in length and 10mm across. Then we have this faceted round bead. It may actually be an oval bead. I think it is. But anyway, it measures 10mm across as well. And then we have these two faceted rondelles here in this topaz color. They measure 8.5 by 6mm. Some more tiger eye beads. We have this gorgeous melon barrel bead, I believe it is. It measures 8 by 14mm. We have another glass bead here. It measures 10mm across. We have this one, which looks like a kind of a bicone shape. I think it's 10mm across as well. And then we have these two very pretty beads with a giraffe print. That's how they've listed it. They're kind of a light topaz color and they measure 6mm across. And in between, I have some metal spacer beads in a bronze color, as you can see. This one has more of those melon barrel beads, tiger eye beads. And this one here, this one's called a mosaic oval, and it measures 12 by 25mm. And in between, I have copper colored seed beads in a size 8.0. I couldn't resist these cute little elephants. They're made out of howlite and they measure 10 by 14.5mm. I have more of the 6mm light topaz colored faceted rounds with a giraffe print. Here I have a puff coin. It's picture Jasper and it measures 12.5mm across. And here's some turquoise nugget beads. They're actually genuine turquoise and they vary in size, but I think they're mostly 10mm across, as you can see. Some of them are a bit smaller. And in between the beads, I have size 8.0 seed beads in a bronze color. This one has the gorgeous garland flowers, 3 turquoise colored ones and 2 topaz colored ones. And in between, I have the tiger eye beads, as you can see. And over here, I have some 5 polished faceted rounds. They measure 6mm across. And in between, I have size 11.0 seed beads in a bronze color. I couldn't resist this elephant. I think it's adorable. It measures 20 by 21 millimeters. And I have more of the nugget beads, as you can see, turquoise nuggets. I have more of these 6 millimeter rounds with a giraffe print. And on this side, I have tiger eye beads and some 6 millimeter beads in that turquoise color. So it's the reverse of this side. On this side, the 6 millimeter rounds are the topaz color. And on this side, they're the turquoise colored ones. And in between, I have spacer beads in a bronze color. On this one, I decided to split up the colors, green on the right and topaz on the left. And I had a choice of either putting a green large bead in the middle or topaz, and I went with this color. And all the other ones are pretty much 10 millimeters across. And I don't have a specific pattern, they're kind of random, but I did group the faceted rondelles in sets of 3 on this side and this side. This one's very similar to this one right here, because I have the turquoise colored 6 millimeter rounds on one side and the ones with the giraffe print on the other side. So I flipped the colors. So the colors on the right are kind of the opposite of the ones that are on the left. On the left, I have the turquoise colored nuggets, and on the right, I have these leaf beads in a topaz color. And in the center is one of the beautiful Jasper coins. The leaf beads measure 5.5 by 10 millimeters. And here I have a set. I decided to do something a little bit more dainty, although this one here is not considered dainty because of these large beads. But the top one is, and they are a set, so they look really good together. All the small beads are 4 millimeters in size. The green ones are the African jade, which I think are absolutely stunning. And the gold ones are actually hematite, 14 karat gold plated hematite from my own stash. Now, if you'll notice, I made the bottom one a little bit longer than the top one, and that's because the larger beads are going to take up some of the inner diameter. So you need to take that into account. And by the way, I got the spacer beads, the metal spacer beads on Amazon. It was quite a while ago. I don't remember exactly when. So if you go searching, you may not be able to find them. But I think these are 4 millimeters in size, and I think these are 6 millimeters in size. Now, obviously, I'm not going to string all of these and crimp them off on camera because it would take too long. And I really don't need to because it's the same technique over and over. So I'm just going to do one of them. I think I'll do this one right here. So let me just put these off to the side. That's another nice thing about these rods. You can transport your beads around and keep your bead patterns intact. I thought I would use this component. So actually we're doing a total of 10 bracelets. And since this giraffe component is so large, I'm going to use some round leather cord and attach a couple of spacer beads and knot it off. So I'll do that at the end after we get done with the beaded bracelets. And I did glue both components together because, as you remember from the unboxing, they're actually hollow. So I thought I would glue them together using some GS Hypo cement glue so that it feels more comfortable on the wrist. I applied a small amount on the edges and then tried to line up both pieces the best way I could, and they did line up pretty nicely. I'm going to use 49 strand beading wire, and of course the sticker is upside down. They either put it upside down or they cover up the actual label of the beading wire. But anyway, this one measures 0.018 of an inch in diameter, or 0.46 millimeters, and it's in a gold color. I'm going to cut myself a 10-inch piece, and that's because you need 2 inches at each end for the crimping. Here it is. Let me put a clip at this end. Of course, if you have a bead stopper, you can use that. And to offload from the rod, you simply hold onto this end like this, slide the stopper off carefully, and offload from the rod directly onto the beading wire. And since the rods hold the beads in alignment, I can do multiples. Just like that. So let me keep going. Okay, I've strung on all my beads, and I can already see how nicely it drapes, and that's why I like 49 strand beading wire so much. So now we're going to do some crimping, my favorite thing. Not. I actually don't like doing it. It's my least favorite thing out of all the things I do. But anyway, I have 2 wire guardians, 2 crimp tubes, and 2 crimp covers. I wanted the crimp covers to kind of blend in with the beads. That's why I chose the bronze color. And I'm not too concerned about the wire guardians being gold because we do have some gold accents with the spacer beads and this component. Although the spacer beads are actually a bronze color, but from the side they look gold. They look more like an antique gold. So let me go ahead and crimp off this end first. I'm going to slide on a crimp tube first. And now wire guard or wire guardian. I'm going down one end, Now I do want to attach an extended chain, but I think I'm going to attach it at this end later on. And now I'm going to go down this end and down through the crimp tube. Slide the crimp tube down. Let me close these legs a little bit. You want to make sure your beading wire isn't crossed inside the crimp tube. It's kind of hard to see, but if you hold it like this, you should be able to do it. I'm going to place the crimp tube inside that first notch. And before I squeeze, I'm going to tighten up that beading wire. And now I'm going to go ahead and crimp. Turn it sideways. I'm going to place it inside the second notch from the tip, like this, and squeeze, and that folds the crimp tube over. I'm going to use the tip now to tighten it up a little bit. So that part's done. And now let me go ahead and slide on a crimp cover. I usually like to go in from underneath. I find it's a little bit easier. So there it is. Let me close it. Make sure the wire guardian isn't caught up in there. To close it the rest of the way, I'm going to use these pliers. These are actually crimp cover closers, if you can believe that. You do want to be careful though, because the crimp cover will dent if you're too rough with it. And I like to go all the way around to get a nice round shape. So there it is, closed up. And now I'm going to slide my tails through some of these beads. That should be good enough. Let me snip off the excess. Slide my beads down. So now let's go ahead and do this end. And I do want to attach an extended chain. So let me get it. I actually want to attach a ring and this extended chain, which already has a bead on it. And I'll show you how to do these dangles in just a few moments. Let me just move this out of the way. These links are actually cut links. They're not soldered. So I'm going to open one up and insert the ring into it. And by the way, that's a closed ring. It's not a jump ring. So now I have a ring at the end and a dangle at the other end. Make sure this component is sitting on that bead properly. I guess I can check it again in a few moments. Let me go ahead and slide the crimp tube on and the wire guard. And now I'm going to go down this end. And I need to insert the ring into the wire guard as well, like that. And now let me go down the crimp tube. And I'm going to go down some of these beads. Pull on the tail to tighten things up, and I probably should have used a seed bead right here where the spacer bead is, because that crimp tube keeps wanting to slide out because the hole's too big. So let me see if I can fix it. Once the crimp cover is on, it should be okay. Let me grab that tube, pull it out a little bit, put it inside the first notch. I think it's in there properly. And now let me go ahead and pull the tail a little bit more before I crimp down. All right, so now let me go ahead and crimp down. So that's done. Let me cut off the excess beading wire. And I'm going to be attaching some dangles to the ring. I have one of the bicone beads here on a ball head pin. I'm going to use my round nose pliers like that, bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to open up this loop just a little bit, slide it into the ring like that, and now I'm going to grab the loop, grab the tail, and do some wraps. Cut off the excess pin. Tuck in the little tail. So there's one dangle. And that's how I did the one at the end of the extended chain, the exact same way. And now I want to attach one of these leaves. So I'm going to use some 24 gauge wire, and this one's in a bronze color. And the reason I'm using 24 gauge is because I'm going to be wrapping on top of wraps. So it'll be like a messy wrap kind of look. Here I have a 4-inch piece. It's probably more than I need, but I'd rather work with more than with less. So I'm bringing the bead to the center like this. And now I'm going to bend both ends up and cross them at the top of the bead. Like that. And now I'm going to grab both pieces of wire to the left of where they intersect. It's kind of tight, but let me see if I can do it. There we go. I'm going to take this one and bend it up. And now I'm going to wrap this one around a couple of times. Cut off the excess. Tuck in the little end if you see one. And now I'm going to bend this one back like this. Grab it with my round nose pliers, like so. Wrap the tail around the nose. Flip the pliers around. Wrap to the back. I'm going to open up this loop. And I'm going to attach it right beside this other one. Like so. Grab the loop. Grab that tail and do some wraps. And I'm going to go over the wraps that I created just a few moments ago. Snip off the excess. And tuck in that little end. You definitely don't want anything sharp sticking out. So now I have a little leaf attached. Super cute. So now I'm going to attach two more on this side. I'm going to use these two beads. Okay, I've attached the other 2 dangles. This time I put the leaf on the left and the bead on the right, the opposite of what's down here. And the wraps aren't all uniform, but I'm not too concerned. I think it makes the piece look more organic. Plus I wanted the leaves to hang a little lower. So now we just need to attach a clasp. Here's a bronze colored clasp. I have a 4mm jump ring. Let me open it up. Slide my clasp into it. And now this end. Let me close it. So there's my finished bracelet. I think it's very, very cute. Very organic looking, very boho. Let me put it on. I'm just going to drape it over my wrist because I do find lobster clasps a little difficult, but hopefully this gives you some idea. I think it's so cute. I love all these different beads. And I love these dangles. I hope you like it as well. I am going to model all the bracelets for you at the end of this video, so please stick around for that. So now I'm going to go ahead and string the rest of the bracelets and crimp them and attach the clasp and everything else. And obviously, since I've already shown you how to do that, I'm not going to do it again on camera. I'm going to do them off camera, and then I'll go ahead and show you bracelet number 10, which is a little different because I'm using that large giraffe component with leather cord. So I'll see you in a few moments. Okay, here's my giraffe component, and I have 2 Tibetan style metal spacer beads. I think they measure 6mm in length, but what I like about them is that they have large holes, so I should be able to fit 2 pieces of leather cord through them. I'm going to be using some round leather cord, and this one is 1mm in thickness, and it's in a brown color, as you can see. I'm going to cut myself 2 12-inch pieces, one for each side of the bracelet. It's probably a little bit more than what I need, but like I always say, I'd rather have more than less. You could probably get away with 10 inches, to be quite honest. Here's one of them. I was going to do some barrel knots, but I want to keep this project relatively easy. So I'm just going to do some regular knots. I'm simply going to slide it through this opening here. Bring my ends together. Like that. And now I'm going to do a simple overhand knot. Let me slide it down so that the knot is up against the component. Pull on each end, just like that. And now I'm going to slide one of these beads onto both pieces. Let me just trim the ends so that they're pointy. I think I'm going to slide one end first and then the other one. Let's see if it'll go through this time. There we go. Let me use my pliers. So that's what we have so far. And now I'm going to do another overhand knot. And let me bring that knot down to where the bead is. Let me pull the ends. That looks pretty good. I really like it. Now this loop here is too small for both pieces, so I'm going to use a jump ring. I'm going to use a 4mm jump ring. Let me open it up. Make sure that jump ring is closed nicely. And here's my other piece of leather cord. I'm going to slide it through the jump ring. Bring my ends together. And now I'm going to make an overhand knot. Bring my knot down to where the jump ring is. Pull on the ends. So there's that knot. And now I'm going to trim these ends off to make them pointy. Slide the bead on. Just like that. And now I'm going to do another overhand knot. Slide it down. Let me tighten it up a little bit. So now I have both ends attached. I think it looks really, really cute. And now we just need to attach a cord end tip. I'm going to use these cord end tips. I got these on Amazon, and I don't know the exact size, but I do know that I can fit 2 pieces of leather cord through them. And I think I'm going to use this color right here. It's gold, but it's not a bright yellow gold. And I am going to apply some glue inside that cord end tip. Let me just put this paper underneath to protect my surface. So now we have to trim off the ends. So let me just measure this piece. It measures about 2.5 inches. So depending on how big you want your bracelet, you would subtract 2.5 from whatever that length is. Now keep in mind that the jump rings and the clasp are going to add to the overall length. So I think for myself, I'm going to go ahead and trim off the end and leave about 1 3/4 inches. Let me get my ruler. So I'm going to trim right here. Let me double check. That's about right. And now let me do this end. Let me just make sure they're both the same length, and it looks like they are. Now, unfortunately, when I took the cap off earlier, I lost the little position tip. So I'm going to use a little piece of wire. I'm going to grab some glue like this. You really don't need that much. Let me apply it to this one. I'm not sure if you guys can see what I'm doing, but I just put a very thin layer. And now let me go ahead and insert my leather cord in there. Let me hold it for just a few seconds to let it set a little bit in place. Let me just turn it around this way because it's a better angle. And I'm going to use these pliers to fold this little flap over. And now this one. So that's done. And that's very strong, guys. I'm telling you, it's not going to go anywhere. You really don't need the glue, but it's always a good idea just to make sure. So now let me do this end. Here's an extended chain. I think I'll attach one of these giraffe beads. I'm calling them giraffe beads, but I'm actually referring to the effect on that glass. I'm going to use it to embellish the extended chain. Let me slide it onto a ball head pin. Grab the pin, bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back, open up that loop, slide my chain into it, like that, grab the loop, grab the tail and do some wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in that little end. And I don't like my extended chains so long, so I'm going to remove some of those links. I think I'm going to remove 5. So I'm going to open up this one right here. These are cut links, they're not soldered. Oops. Here's a 4mm jump ring. I'm going to slide this loop into it like that. And now the extended chain. Close up the jump ring. Now this part's important because the loop on the cord end tip is very thin, so you want to make sure your jump ring is closed really well so it doesn't slide through the gap if there's a gap. Here's another jump ring. It's 4mm as well, and I've already opened it, and I have a lobster clasp. And let me go ahead and slide this end of the bracelet into the jump ring and close it. That looks pretty good. So there's a really pretty giraffe bracelet. Isn't it cute? I love it. Let me put it on. Now, of course, since my wrists are pretty small, the component looks kind of big on me. But if you have regular size wrists, it should look pretty good. It still looks good though, in my opinion. So there we go. I think it turned out really, really cute. I really like it. I hope you like it as well. I knew I wanted to use it, but I wasn't sure how. Of course, I could have made a necklace with it, but since I'm doing a bracelet tutorial today, I figured I would do a bracelet instead. So now let me bring out all the bracelets and we'll take a look at them. Well, here are all 10 bracelets, and they're all absolutely gorgeous, but I'm not saying that because of the way I put them together. I'm saying that because the bead collection was stunning. Thanks to Wendy and Sam's team, the way they curated this box, the beads, the colors and everything was amazing. And when you have such a beautiful collection of beads, it's easy to come up with designs. And for me personally, I like the one with the giraffe. It's kind of simple, but I really do like that component. It's very unique. It's definitely different. And even though the component is big, it's kind of on the dainty side, I would say, because of the leather cord. Let me pull this one off to the side, and this one too, because you've already seen this one with the dangles and everything. So here are the other 8. I did make a little change to this one. Let me show you. Initially, I had one of the Jasper coins and a section of turquoise chips at one end and nothing on the other end, just the elephants. But then I decided to remove the coin bead and have it be more symmetrical like this. I did add a seed bead at the end there because the spacer bead had a very large hole and I was having a little difficulty crimping. So I do recommend that you do that if you come across that problem. But anyway, I think this one turned out really nice. I like it. I love the elephants paired with the 5 polished beads with that giraffe pattern. It's very cute. And this one turned out nice as well. It kind of looks like a little bit of a gradient effect, even though it's not. But I really do like the arrangement of the beads, the colors, and the different shapes and sizes. There's really no set pattern. I just kind of arranged the beads the way I thought they would look nice. And I did add a seed bead there, a size 8 seed bead up against that spacer bead. And I added this rondelle and one of the little tiny green beads that came in one of the strands to embellish it. I love this one. I love the elephant. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I like the way the beads are distributed. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the same colors on both sides, but different kinds of beads. Nuggets on this side and the tiger eye on that side. And for this one, I added this embellishment, the flower and one of the fire polished rounds. And I did not add seed beads at the end. I should have, because I really had a hard time. But anyway, that's what I recommend that you do, guys, so you don't struggle with it. Let me show you this one. This one turned out really nice as well. I used copper findings because of the wash on that bead, and also the tiger eye are the reddish ones. And I added this embellishment. It's a copper colored bead. I think it came in the custom bead strand, but I really can't remember. And by the way, the seed beads are also size 8/0 and they're copper colored. Let me show you this one. This one has the same kind of bead arrangement that I did on the elephant, where I'm using the same colors on either side of the focal, but they're different kinds of beads. And on this one, I use size 11/0 seed beads, which is fine. The only problem is that when you try to feed your beading wire back through, it may not go through a size 11/0 if you're using 0.018 of an inch beading wire. And on this one, I did this kind of an embellishment, 2 turquoise chips and one of the leaf beads. This one's really nice as well. And again, I use size 11/0 seed beads in between, but I think I was able to feed my beading wire back through. It wasn't easy, but I did manage to do it. I like this one as well. And then for the embellishment, I just added 3 of the leaf beads, just like that. This one's really nice as well. A little bit more elegant, I would say, not so much boho. And since I used the smaller hematite beads, I thought I would use gold findings. So I have gold crimp covers, a gold lobster clasp, and I also added a little gold hematite bead at the end of my extended chain. And here's the matching bracelet. This one's definitely on the dainty side. And I did the same kind of embellishment on the end of the extended chain. They really do look very nice together. I really like them. So anyway, guys, these are the beautiful finished bracelets. Let me put this one back in here. And this one as well. I think I'll just put it here. I hope I've inspired you to make your own. I hope I've given you some ideas. There are plenty of design ideas here for you, for those of you who need inspiration. And if you have time, I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love to hear which one is your favorite. If you could leave some comments down below, I'd really appreciate that. As always, I'm going to go ahead and model these for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.